Here with another hand analysis. I'm having a lot of fun reviewing these guys, so keep sending them. We'll keep talking through them. So this one comes to me. It's using the upswing hand replayer, and that's fine. When you guys send this stuff in, try to include any relevant HUD stats. I didn't get HUD stats with this. Just a comment that the villain was 3-betting quite a bit in this session, and the impression was given that he was trying to kind of run over the table, or that's how I kind of interpreted it. So first thing I'll tell you is in these small 2NL games, the play is generally very, very loose. So it's not a bad strategy to 3-bet a little bit wider or a little bit more frequently than you probably would in better games or against tighter players. So I'm not saying that's a bad strategy. Certainly frustrating when you're on the receiving end of that. So let's see what we can do to kind of compensate for that. So our hero here is in the cutoff seat with pocket 9. It's a great starting hand. Under the gun folds, we raise to 7, which is fine. 3.5 big blinds is an odd number, but I see people do it. I don't have a problem with it. Button calls behind. Again, the button can call behind with a lot of suited hands, some smaller pairs, so that's fine. Small blind folds, and now big blind 3-bets. So this is the spot I want to try to use PokerCruncher and take a look at here. So we do say the the big blind is 3-betting kind of wide here. So let's try to interpret what that is. So we'll put our hand up top here. We have 9 and we have 9. When a player 3-bets, he either does it in a linear fashion or a polarized fashion. So when you're talking linear, that means literally from the top down here, and it's all the best hands. So it might be kings down to 10. Aces down to 10, some ace king, some ace queen. This is a linear range consisting of all the best hands. When you're playing in these small stakes games, that's most of what you are going to see. When you hear about a polarized range, that's when guys are 3-betting with the best hands and some sporadic bluffs. So there might be, queens plus, ace king, some low suited aces, and maybe some lower suited connectors, something like that. So this would be a polarized range. You're 3-betting with your best hands and some of the worst hands kind of as bluffs. So when somebody is 3-betting from the blinds, they're almost always, if they're a competent player, going to do it with a linear range. Why is that? Because if you do get called, you're going to be playing it out of position. You don't want to be doing it with one of these lower value hands. So if this guy's a competent player, he's probably doing it from the big blind, something like this. You'll see that's only 4% of hands. Let's expand it. So we say he's doing a little bit too much 3-betting here, so let's give him 9s. Let's give him the other suited aces, a king, queen suited. So here's 5% of hands. I'll even give him ace, queen off. That's 6% of hands. So without HUD stats, it's hard to know whether it's correct or not, though. But this is a good linear range, one that I would probably play myself this way, as well as something that the villain might be doing. Again, you should be playing a linear range from the blind, so this is probably a pretty good sample of what he might be doing. So let's see what equity we have. So with pocket 9, just visually at his range, he has 30 overpairs that beat us right there. You're roughly flipping against 24 combos of ace king, roughly flipping against all the ace queen suited, ace jack suited, ace 10 suited, king queen suited. You're flipping against those. So you have 30 combos you're getting crushed by, another, we'll say 30 that you're flipping against. So you probably only have 25% equity here. Let's just see what we have. All right, no, a little higher. So I was wrong in my calculation there, about 40%. So here you have 30 combos, 75. Oh, okay, we got our count wrong here. It wasn't even. So 45 combos, you got 50% equity, and 30 combos, you got about 0% equity. So all right, math there actually makes sense. So 2 out of every 5 times you're in decent shape, which is 40%. So all right, got to check our own math here. All right. So with this, you have to put in 27 cents to call a pot that will go up to be, so let's do our math here. So it'll be 36 plus our 36 if we call, plus 7 from the button, plus 1 from the small blind. So the pot will be 80 cents. 29 divided by 80 is 36%. So we need 36% equity here to continue. Well, if we look back at our range chart here, though, against his range, again, we give him a little looser range, so we have 40% equity, so this is a continue. The only challenge I have here is, is When you call these things to set mine, which is part of what you're going to be doing here, you want to make sure you're getting 10 to 1, meaning you have 10 times the stack left as to the bet that you have to call. You prefer to have a stack of about 290 behind, not 236. You may get additional implied odds off of the button calling behind you. So there is that. So I'm actually okay with it with a call here. If we tightened his range, does it say, let's say he's not 3-betting quite as wide as we thought. Let's say he's not 3-betting nines or some of these hands here, something more kind of traditional like that, which is a tight range you see in some of these small stake games. Well, then you're in trouble. So you're still close. You can certainly make an argument you're getting the right price or almost the exact right price depending on his specific range. So if you're not getting 10 to 1 as the implied odds, this may just be a fold. But I like nines in position here, especially. And if the button comes along, you get all those implied odds. So I think a call here is fine. Challenge here is hero jams. So let's look at why this is not an ideal play. So we come back here and let's look at the range we gave him. And let's get him back to the one that's kind of a little bit wide here. So when we do this, our nines against his nines plus, ace queen plus, ace 10 suited plus range only has 40% equity. So let's look at it from the villain's perspective. He has 60% equity at this point in time. Now he doesn't know our hand, but let's get to that in a second. So he needs to put in 207. So he'll have to put in, it'll be his 243 plus our 243 plus 0.08, 494. So 207 divided by 494. He needs 42% equity to continue. So if you guys ever need help with this math, these basic pot odds, I'm happy to slow this down or do a PowerPoint or something on it. Just tell me if you want that. But for right now, this program does not calculate like Poker Tracker, the pot odds you need to continue, but trust me, you need 42%. So here's the problem, is his range has 60%. So even if we take out... even if we give him some bluffs, let's look at it this way. Let's say he's bluffing some of these low-suited aces, these low-suited connectors. He's got 53%. Let's say he's kind of getting really out of line. Something like that. Some of these here. He's got 44%. So at that point in time, it's close, but it's still not mathematically a mistake for him to call. So what you're doing in this case with your pocket nines, you're leaving him really a great price to call you, very profitably. You saw in the worst case scenario for him, he's got a 2% equity edge, meaning he needs 42 to call and has 44. In the best case, he has like an 18% overlay, meaning he needs 42 and has 60. So let's get back to a reasonable range for the guy. We said he was a little loose, and let's do this. So let's see if it's a mistake for him to call against our range. Now, we're at the bottom of kind of the range here with nines, but if we're playing nines this way, we're playing all the other pocket pairs this way, then we're going to play ace-king, ace-queen, maybe an ace-jack, an ace-king, something like that. If you look, we have very close to the same range as what he would 3-bet with, meaning the equities are going to run close to 50-50. I think he just has a couple more hands here than we do. Yeah, we just changed up some of the hands. I mean... well, we can argue what they are, but in reality, if we both have the same range, the equity is 50%, and that's still enough for the overlay on the call. So the point here is we're giving him pot odds that he needs 42% equity to continue. I frankly don't foresee a range that he 3-bets with a linear range out of position that does not have that price. So, button folds, villain calls, and he has one of those hands we put in his range, and I'll probably say it's a little bit of a loose call by the villain here, but also mathematically a correct one. Once the flop came down, I mean, he had us crushed. Certainly when there's 30 combos of overpairs to your pocket nines that he would always play this way. There's 16 combos of ace-king that you're flipping against that he would always play this way. You just don't have enough equity to 4-bet. Remember, when you're betting here, you either want to do it as a bluff or for value. This bet was not for value, as their worst hands are not going to call. Always think, is the best hand... would the villain do this with the best hand that you beat? Meaning, would he do this and call a 4-bet with pocket eights? Now, he might 3-bet the eights. He might 3-bet the eights, but he's not going to call a 4-bet with pocket eights. And then think, are there better hands you get to fold by doing this? I really don't think, unless you have a particularly tight image, and I don't have HUD stats on here either, unless this guy really believes you're just doing it with queens plus ace king. Let's look at that. 9-9. If we give ourselves queens plus, or I'm sorry, he had tens. He had tens. We'll do it this way. If we give ourselves queens plus ace king, well, all right, there's 36% equity there, and you know that's a mistake, but probably if you expand that range at all, not a significantly big one. So you always look at it from your hero, from the villain's perspective as well, and if if we widen our 4-bet range a little bit, though, it's a little mistake for him to call, but not a huge one here. So at the nines in, which is actually part of the range, and then you get to the point where you're giving him the right price. So always play around with these ranges, and always remember when you bet, you got to do it for one of two reasons. You either need worse hands to call, which I didn't think you were going to get here, or better hands to fold, which based on the odds we're laying him is unlikely. So hope that helped you guys. If you have other hands you want to submit in, you're welcome to send them to pokerheroonline@gmail.com. We'll get you set up. You're welcome to use a card chat replayer, upswing replayer. Just include some HUD stats for us so we know where to look, and then we'll get you set up. So Poker Hero here, signing out, wishing you good luck in your games.